Hey, what's up guys? I'm Beav from Tactical Baby Gear, and this is the long-awaited real-world review of the Nuna stroller and car seat system. This is the DEMI system. We'll go through each one of these products individually. Now, we initially did an unboxing and first impressions video about 6 months ago, just before she was born, and she just turned 6 months. So we've now been using this stuff for 6 months, and we want to give you context of how we're using it, what we like, what we don't like, and ultimately, is it worth the money? Let me give Hannah back to mom, and we will start with the stroller. Now, before I get into each one of these items individually, let me give you guys some context of how we use these products. We've got 3 kids. I have a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and now a 6-month-old. So the way we use some of these products may vary from the way you use them, and that I think we'll get into that more with the bassinet and the stand and some of those items. And I want to try to simplify some of this information because a lot of the information on Nuna's website, when you start to research this stuff, is very difficult to understand and it's just not intuitive, right? I get a lot of questions of, does this car seat work with that stroller, and does this The answer is I don't really know, to be honest with you. This is not a sponsored video. We bought these things because I was having a baby and I thought that it needed and warranted some information and reviews, etc. So that's what we're doing here. I'm hopeful that I can make sense of some of this stuff for you, answer some of your questions, and ultimately help you determine whether or not it's worth spending this much money. So the car seat itself, huge fan of the car seat. It's absolutely fantastic. This is the Nuna Pippa Light, and just like the name implies, it is very lightweight. It's extremely impressive of how light it is, matched with its safety capabilities and ease of use is just absolutely fantastic. Another thing that we like about it a lot is this additional sunshade that sort of unzips out of the main section here and pulls down over the front, and there's magnets in the corners to hold that in place, and then there's still mesh here for cross ventilation and whatnot. So this is fantastic. And if you need to get to the baby or give them a pacifier back or whatever, just pull that guy right up and get to it, and it's easy to zip it back in place. Another thing that we like a lot about the car seat in terms of ease of use is how easy it is to take it on and off the stroller and put it into the car base just like that. Like, it sits right down there, it clips right in, it's easy to do. You just release the handle on the back of your car seat base, it picks right up. I mean, you can see how light this is. I'm just kind of tossing it around. The way it attaches to these items is both a pro and a con. We'll get into the con in just a minute when we talk about the stroller. Now, the car seat base, I'm a huge fan of as well. I drive a pickup truck, and I've got guys in and out of my truck all the time, so this is constantly making its way in and out of the back seat. And it's so simple, it's so easy. It uses these brackets here to clip into the little brackets in the seat that all the modern cars have. And then there is a third leg down here underneath it that folds out like this to keep it from rocking around and keeps it nice and secure. You can install that or take it out in about 3 seconds. It's very simple. I'm a big fan of that. Okay, let's talk about the stroller itself. This is the Nuna DEMI Grow stroller. It actually comes with the toddler seat, which we'll get more into in a minute. Some of the pros. Here's the things I absolutely love about this thing. And there's more pros than cons, so don't worry. It's super lightweight. It's incredibly easy to use. It's very smooth. So using this thing is a breeze. Pushing it around, the way it maneuvers and rolls around, it just glides over the ground. It's fantastic. There's adjustments on the handle to raise and lower it, which is nice, particularly when you're walking. I find myself, when this is lowered like this and you're walking, you tend to kick the bottom of the stroller, which is annoying. So with it extended, you're not kicking it, and it makes it a little bit nicer. There is enough room up here at the top of the handle to hang diaper bags from the stroller straps, so that's nice. And the way that this is designed and the geometry of it, it's not gonna topple over unless it probably has an extreme amount of weight. But even in that case, the suspension, this thing's got suspension in the bottom of it too. I didn't mention that. But you can see down at the bottom, it's absorbing some of that pressure down here at the base, which is really slick. It's very cool. Then back here while we're talking about it is the foot brake. You just lift it up to move it. Simple one touch, push it down to lock it. It locks in place. This is another scenario where the way we use it may differ from the way you might use it. Down here, there are some other attachment points where you can clip in a second seat. And my understanding, we don't use this feature because we don't have 2 kids that need to be in a stroller. The toddler seat would clip into the top, and then the car seat, the baby seat, would then clip into the bottom, is my understanding. I haven't used it yet. I don't really need to use it. I don't have any thoughts or opinions about it, but based on how everything else works, I'm sure it's great. The materials used on this are really nice. The aluminum is really nice. The plastic pieces on this are very nice pieces of plastic. They don't feel like light, cheap, junky plastic. The leather handle or vinyl handle is fantastic, which will also play a part into one of the cons, which I'll get into in just a second. Even though it's lightweight, it feels premium. So you know how a lot of items you can tell if it's nice by the weight of it. If it's a heavy thing, it's a premium, it's nicer. And a lot of times things that are lightweight feel cheap and junky. This is both lightweight but feels premium. So I hope that makes sense. It's not like a light, cheap feeling thing. It's a light, premium feeling thing, which I thought was impressive that they were able to achieve. Okay, so the way this thing folds, again, it's very simple, very easy, very intuitive. Right here on the handles, there's 2 little tabs, I guess. You would pull these up, and this guy folds right down just like this. It's super simple, very easy, and it folds up just like that. To unfold it, now this is actually one of my favorite parts. There's a lock right here on the side, so you can lock it from unfolding, or you can pick it up and swing it out of the way so it never locks, which I prefer. Oftentimes when you go to Disney World, you're on the tram, you're pulling this thing on and off, and you're trying to unfold it, and there's people trying to come behind you. And some of the other strollers, this is like permanently like this, and you have to unlock it every time. It's very frustrating, stressful, especially for my wife. If you can lock this thing out of the way, as soon as you pick it up, it unfolds, and it's very simple, very easy, very well thought through. But the folding aspect is also where we start to get into some of the cons. So when this is folded and you go to slide it into your vehicle and you're shoving it in there, or in the back of my truck, as I mentioned before, I've got a pickup truck, you can see down here, this is scrubbing the back of the fenders and scratching them up. The leather handle is now on the ground and being pushed across and getting scraped up. And then also the car seat adapter, if you don't take it off, is getting scraped up as you push that into the back of your SUV, truck, whatever. And it hurts my soul a little bit, right? This is something that you spent a lot of money on that feels very premium, and then on day one, you're scratching it up. It feels like a miss, like there's something in the engineering that could be fixed or adjusted to prevent some of these things, or put an actual wear item in some locations that you know are gonna rub, that are there to prevent damage on other places. So that's one thing I don't like. Another one of the cons, which is also a pro, and I think that there's a balance here, so bear with me, I'm gonna try to talk this through. This adapter that you have to use for the car seat is kind of a pain in the butt. It works fine, it's great, there's nothing wrong with the way it works and functions. It's just the fact that you have to use it that is annoying, because here's what happens. Now that, you know, our baby's a little older, and this comes with the toddler seat, so Brandy's got the baby in here. She's taken her for a walk, she's done her thing, she's come back to the house, she's put it in the garage. A little while later, oh, hey, we need to run to the store, blah, 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 blah. Can you go throw the stroller in the car? Sure, no problem. I go get the stroller. And of course, this is gonna be my fault, as always, right? I'm gonna set that off to the side. I'm gonna fold this up. I'm gonna put this in the car. We're gonna get to the store. I'm gonna unfold this. I'm gonna grab the baby out of the back seat and go to put her in it. And I can't, because this has been left somewhere at home or in the back of my wife's car or wherever it is, and now we're stuck wherever we are without the adapter and having to carry the car seat, into the restaurant through the wherever we're doing, right? Or there's been cases where we've had to turn around, go home, get it, whatever. It's very annoying, very frustrating. So you end up having to carry it. Thankfully, this is lightweight, but even with a baby in it, this thing's heavy. You guys carry a baby around for a long time? Here's a pro tip for you. Instead of carrying this like this the whole time and hurting your back and trying to counterbalance it with your other arm, put your arm through the handle like this and grab the sort of the hub. And now you've got a nice tight grip on this thing. It's tight, close to your body, and you're not falling over and trying to carry it. You've got a pretty solid grip on it here, and it's nice and secure. So that's a pro tip for you. But if they could, they've done it with their other items. If they made the stroller attachment points made up with the side of the car seat, the same way that we do it with our cruiser. So we've got our cruiser wagon, stroller hybrid product that this is the car seat adapter for it that works with the Nuna, and it clips onto the bases at the side of the seat and doesn't require a cradle like that. If Nuna did that and you could clip this directly in the same way you can clip the toddler seat in, just like this, it'd be fantastic. It would eliminate that item. It'd be fantastic. Now, the potential con to that, and I recognize this and I get it, and it's probably a balance and something they probably struggled with internally, is when you have a baby in that car seat and it's 20 pounds and you're holding it and you're trying to line up both sides and get it clipped in securely and safely, is that the right way to do it? Either because with the adapter on here, it's really easy just to set it down and it's secure. It's very simple. You know, someone that maybe doesn't have the strength to hold the baby up and get it lined up can just plop it down on there, and it's, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to think about it. You just have to remember to bring this with you. So anyways, that's one of my gripes, because I tend to forget this guy a lot and it causes me a lot of trouble. But I will say that lining this up is very simple. The way they have it engineered, it's sort of a long rectangle. So even if one side is lined up, the other side almost always lines up directly in there, no problem. And I've never really had a big issue with misalignment, but you could see where that problem would be if you got one side locked in and you were trying to line up this other side, and now the baby isn't secured and potentially could fall, etc. So I'm sure that was something that they weighed as a risk factor and decided to go the way they did. This is the toddler seat. The toddler seat comes with the stroller, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure it does. We like it. As the baby's grown and gotten a little older, we've been using it more. My wife's been using it more and taking her on walks, etc. Sort of the same thing. It's exactly what you think it does. It does it well. It's very nice. It's very premium. My wife said that one of her favorite features was that the leg support is adjustable and locks up, because the baby's feet only come to here currently, which leaves this as like an open shelf to put blankets and toys and whatever else she's walking around with. The sunshade is the same thing. This unzips and the sunshade extends down a little bit further, blocking more sunlight. And then there's a little window in the back so you can see in. Another nice feature is that it does rock back. There's a tab on the back of the toddler seat here where you can adjust the reclining position of it. So if the baby was napping, you could lay the baby back and keep it asleep. Now, initially we bought this whole set, and we had a lot of questions. These are questions that we asked in the first video, in the first impressions, that I wasn't even sure which components worked together or didn't work together. So I said, screw it, I'm gonna buy a bunch of this stuff. We're gonna see what works. And I hope that it works together, because this is how I see myself using it, etc. And thankfully they all did work together. And that was, does the toddler seat fit on the base, the stand, right? So we bought the stand. This is the Nuna DEMI Grow stand that is really advertised to be used with the bassinet. And that's where the confusion was. Well, does it work with these other things? And blah, blah, blah. And their website is still like that. And that's why I'm trying to help answer some questions for you guys, etc. So the thought was, can we use the toddler seat on the stand, because we could see ourselves using this quite a bit. We're outdoor people. We spend a lot of time outside. cool, we can hang out outside, we can cook out, we can have picnics, we can go to friends' houses, we can put the baby in this, and she can be sort of part of it with us, which is great. It works wonderfully. The stand is lightweight, it folds easy, it doesn't lock in this like open position, which I was kind of like, ugh. But realistically, with the geometry of it, with weight in it, it's not gonna fold itself over. But the problem became, well, now we're moving inside. Now we're whatever, we're gonna go here. Can you move the baby? So now you're like, well, I don't wanna just pick this up and carry the baby around like this, right? It's sort of unsafe. So you find yourself, okay, take the baby out, you hold the baby, I'll carry this inside, or you're trying to do one of these and move it up a flight of stairs or whatever the case is. So you're like, well, this kind of becomes a pain in the butt and not really used as often, because realistically, you could just put this back in a stroller and achieve the same thing. So the stand, in my opinion, isn't a necessary item. Maybe it's a nice to have and not a need to have, or if you're trying to supplement a high chair at the kitchen table by using these items together, that might be a feasible thing for you. It's not the way we used it. It doesn't really work well for us that way. So take that for what it's worth. I mentioned the stand was really meant to be used with the bassinet. So let's show you how that works together, and I'll tell you how we've used it. This works just like you would expect. It sits on there. We also thought this might be nice to use the bassinet with the stand in the case that, okay, we're at our buddy's house, we're at a party, we're, you know, whatever, the baby needs to take a nap. We could put her in the bassinet. We could put her on the stand, keep her up off the ground, away from dogs and whatever else, you know, other kids, you know, getting in there and messing with her while the baby's trying to nap or whatever. So we're like, this will be great because we're on the move all the time. We're going places, we're doing things. We never did that, partially probably because of COVID. And we often found that when you're at a friend's house, you're at a get together, you're at another birthday party, those people are generally, you know, like, oh, the baby can take a nap in our room, or the baby can, whatever, right? So you can usually sort of isolate the baby to a secluded area without having to use the stand and drag that into someone else's house or whatever. So that was our thought of how we would use it, and we never did. Now the bassinet, we used quite a bit, and we're starting to use it less and less, partially because of the seasonality and the weather. It's the end of November going into December. So primarily we were using this on the boat, and this is how we would use it. We would load all of the kids' stuff into the bassinet, towels, snacks, you know, all the crap you're dragging around with for our older kids, right? Brandy would carry the baby down to the boat. I would carry this and drag the cooler and all the other stuff. And then we would take all the stuff out of this and put this down on the seat of the boat, and the baby could sleep in here while we're hanging out and cruising or doing whatever. And it was great, it was fantastic. But she's 6 months old now, as I mentioned. She's 18 pounds. She's a big girl. She's in almost the 90th percentile. And she's starting to outgrow it already. So by the time that we get back around to using this for some of our outdoor activities, she's gonna be too big for it. She's gonna be 9, 10, 12 months old, and she'll be too big to be in this. Even now, 6 months, she's rolling around a lot. She's picking herself up, and I don't see her spending any time in this. So while we love it, and it does exactly what you would think it would do, and it folds down and it collapses flat, and it's a very nice piece, it's got a short life for us. Now, if you have other younger kids, or you plan on having more kids, this might be more worth it to you to invest in this than it was for us, because I feel like we got a few months out of it and now we're not using it, and we'll pass it along to somebody or sell it secondhand or whatever the case we'll do with it. But sort of a short life, and the same with the stand. So take that for what it's worth. So the big question is it worth it to buy the Nuna system? And my answer would be yes. If it is in your budget for these items, then absolutely yes. Particularly the stroller and the car seat are absolutely worth it. The other items, the stand and the bassinet, are worth it. If they're gonna work for you, if you need those items, they're very nice. They're great items. There's nothing wrong with them. Consider the life cycle of those items for yourself. If you think you're only gonna get a couple months out of it, weigh that. Is it worth spending that kind of money for a short period of time? So something to keep in mind. If there's any other questions about this stuff that I didn't answer, leave comments down below. I'll do my best to answer those questions. We also have another video of the unboxing and the first impressions where we talk a little bit more about these items. I'll leave a link right up here. I'll also put it in the description below, and you can watch that video for more information. I hope this was insightful and helped you make a decision. And if it was, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you aren't already. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.